From the dynamic island to the not so impressive battery drain to the amazing 48 megapixel camera makes the new iPhone 14 Pro quite an interesting phone to own. After a month of using this new iPhone, I found some interesting things that you need to know before considering upgrading to the Pro or Pro Max model. Let's start with the external design. Okay, I know what you're thinking. It's just a heavier iPhone weighing 206 grams with a thicker lens with a sapphire crystal lens cover. We still do have a lightning cable on this iPhone, but that may soon change in 2024 with Apple having to comply with new EU regulations for USB-C ports in the upcoming iPhone models. So that means we will see USB-C ports in Apple devices very soon. This iPhone has IP68 water and dust resistance, which allows you to have a maximum depth of up to 6 meters of protection. What does that mean for you, the person that's actually using the phone? It means better camera quality with a bigger, well, maybe not that big of a battery upgrade, but still, the weight difference is definitely noticeable. Keep that in mind if you do decide to get this iPhone. The design is pretty nice with the new deep purple and the space gray as well. The textured matte glass back and stainless steel design adds a nice finish to this iPhone. Although you may have to clean your phone several times because it is so easy to get fingerprint buildup on your iPhone on the stainless steel finish. This can be annoying if you don't have a cover for your iPhone, so definitely consider getting a cover. Now, I know most of you don't get an iPhone just because of a new color, but hear me out. Apple has done a really good job with the space gray and the deep purple. You don't notice it in your everyday use, but it's still very nice to have a nice color that stands out. Having a purple iPhone is different, and depending on the setting that you're in, you can barely tell that this is a purple iPhone. In a darker setting, you can see the color more of a darker gray than a deep purple. The camera experience on this iPhone is an experience within itself. I've never been a big fan of taking pictures and videos regularly, but this camera experience on the iPhone 14 Pro has been quite fun. To be quite honest, I don't use the 48 megapixel camera that often, but when I do, you can definitely tell the difference in the detail of colors. A question you might ask is, how does that benefit you? Well, I'd say if you want something that is almost as good as a professional camera, this iPhone is more than capable of doing the job. You might ask, how far can you zoom in and out? You can zoom in as much as 15x and zoom out as much as 0.5x. The ultra wide camera does not have the same 48 megapixel capability as you do on the main camera, but it's still able to take really good pictures. The depth control in portrait mode is actually really good. I mean, if you just see for yourself how good it is with this picture, we still have the same effects in portrait lighting, the natural, studio, contour, stage mono, and high key light mono. Portrait mode comes with the advanced bokeh, which is the way the lens renders out of focus points of light. The way Apple has done this is really nice. I use portrait mode all the time and has gotten better over the years. Night mode is now really good too, which means better quality images at night. I found it better to use the adaptive true tone flash over the night mode feature in certain light mode settings. The adaptive true tone flash is that good. You can test this out for yourself to see what works best for you in your night setting, but I found it best to use the adaptive true tone flash at night. Video is just as good with 4K video recording at 24, 25, 30, and 60 frames per second. I always record my videos at 60 frames per second, but you can record in any of the different 4 frame rates. ProRes is also able to record up to 4K 30 frames per second or 1080p at 30 frames per second for the 128GB storage option. If you're going to be using camera for video and photography, 256GB storage option is a minimum. I mean, you do get a lot less headache if your phone does have more storage. As I said in the unboxing video, the more storage is better for the iPhone 14 Pro, especially if you create content. The average iPhone user would do just fine with the base 128GB storage option. The most exciting feature that I have found in video is the night mode time lapse. I have to say, it is a lot better than I first expected. It is crisp and has so much detail. You can check this out for yourself when you can. The iPhone is also capable of audio zooming. I still believe it can get a lot better over time, but it blew my mind just how good it is on this iPhone. Like I said in my unboxing video, storage is very important if you're going to be shooting videos in 48 megapixel or when you're using ProRes raw pro action and the improved cinematic mode. Apple has once again shown its continued effort to give us users an incredible camera experience. This has to be one of the best cameras in a smartphone on the market. Yes, there are some other non-Apple devices that you might say are a lot better. Having used Apple devices my whole life, this is a very nice improvement. This new dynamic island is more useful than you think. I know I've talked about this before, but splitting two different tasks on the dynamic island saves so much time. How does this save you time, you may ask? I mean, if you're going to stop a background application, you can now without having to open the app. You can skip through music while it plays at the top by just tapping and holding on the dynamic island to stop the music. Calls are now also really nice to have at the top of the dynamic island. You can also get support for third-party applications for live activities. This is also useful in tracking your Uber rides and keeping track of sports updates. You should definitely try this out. What if you want to play games? How good is the gameplay on this iPhone? The updated internal design on the ProMotion technology with adaptive refresh rates of up to 120 Hz is so smooth on this iPhone 14 Pro. Along with the Super Retina XDR display, combined with the A16 Bionic chip, this makes for a really powerful iPhone that is capable of graphic-intensive gaming. The response time on gaming is really neat as well, and with really good Wi-Fi, you can definitely play any game on this iPhone. I barely had any lag while I was testing this out. The graphics on this iPhone are not too bad. With the thinner bezels, this is a really powerful iPhone to use for gameplay. So if you're into games, this iPhone is more than capable of that, but obviously upgrading your storage would be a good idea as well if you're going to be playing games regularly. However, the battery does drain with intensive gameplay, and not just gameplay, but just in general. Yes, the fast charging is pretty good if you have both the 20-watt or the 10-watt charging brick. However, the battery drain has been my worst experience on this iPhone. I struggle to get a full day's charge. Maybe it's just me having my brightness up all the time, but I do expect a heavier iPhone to have a longer battery life. But hey, maybe I'm asking for too much. But at least now with iOS 16.1, my battery experience has been a lot better. You can track the battery drain of your iPhone in the top right corner, which is the feature that we have all expected from the beginning. I guess Apple has finally realized that people want to know how much of their battery is left in their iPhone. I mean, although this is not a new feature, it is a nice feature to finally have on the iPhone model. Let's talk about compatibility with the AirPods Pro 2nd generation. The Apple ecosystem makes it so easy to set up your AirPods Pro with this iPhone and as well as your other Apple devices. The precise location tracking makes it so easy to find these AirPods in the Find My app, and if you do have AirPods Pro, you should definitely check out this feature and what the Apple ecosystem can do. You might be asking yourself, what makes an iPhone a new iPhone if it is just minor changes? What makes a new iPhone new? What has to change for you to notice that it is new? How does this experience have to change for you to notice a difference in the latest iPhone? You could say that it's the little things that matter in this case, and surely it does. The overall experience in this iPhone is a lot different, and doesn't that mean that it is a new iPhone regardless of how it looks? I guess you can decide that for yourself.